We are back.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's early in the morning.
On Sunday.
Sunday morning, earlies. Got my coffee next to me. I just said to him, very excited to start recording again on the patio, which is how Malibu Table started.
Yes.
Because you wanted to do a podcast and I did not. And I only agreed to do the podcast because you said that you would sit on the patio with me. Because I love to sit on the patio.
Correct.
So patio podcasting is going to come back pretty soon.
I still think we're a couple weeks out from that.
Oh yeah. Like 3 or 4. But then that's 3 or 4 episodes and then we're back on the patio.
Yes, we need
excited.
We need some consistent
Girl
weather.
So it's going to be super hot on Tuesday, and then the first communion, which we'll talk about, is on Saturday. We planned the after party at my brother's house, which for a couple reasons I'm not super excited about. We can talk about it. But what was the good reason is it is a pool, but now it's going to be like the high of 66. Like there's no swimming. So now, I mean, Too Long Didn't Read version. The problem is that, no, I'm not worried about our kids. It's the people that we've invited now have to drive to Brighton from Dearborn, which is a 45-minute drive. And I'm just annoyed about the whole thing, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm really annoyed about it. We'll get into it later.
C'est la vie.
So we're back from New York.
Yes, we came back.
Yes.
2 days ago.
What a trip.
Mm-hmm.
What a trip. What are your thoughts on it? We haven't really talked about how you would evaluate the trip.
I'll let you go first. Because you're the most opinionated, so I'll let you start.
I think that you're only letting me go first because you're basking in the glory of what you did during this trip. Because to be honest, and I was very free with compliments, you planned an exceptional trip. Like, you planned the itinerary, you did the research. I looked at your itinerary, I was a little nervous about it. And then when we actually got to where we were going, the timing was perfect. You planned all the travels, so like we just followed you and you just knew what you were doing. And it seemed like every time we hit a platform waiting for the subway, a minute later the subway would be there. Like everything worked out gloriously. It was an awesome trip. That's my feeling.
Well, I give Google Maps a lot of the credit.
Yeah.
Because that made life easier to find which subway we were supposed to be on, and
it was crazy how functional it was. Like totally functional.
And our kids did not complain.
No, we had a great debate that some of the listeners might remember about whether or not we were going to take a bus and a subway into the city versus an Uber. And here's the thing, I don't even know if I expressed this to you. I realized if we were taking an Uber, I would have to ride in a car with a stranger for like 45 minutes. So right when we got off the airplane, ultimately you're like, you can decide. And I was like, I'd actually rather be together and uncomfortable than with a stranger for 45 minutes with half of my kids. So we decided to do the bus and the subway. And getting into the city, I think, was a little more taxing and nerve-wracking. The kids had not done that before, but they were good. And it kind of like, broke the ice for the public transportation, and it was great.
Well, and that's because when you take an Uber, even if you get like the XL van, the max they can have is 6.
Right, so I'd have to be with you. I hate being by myself without you.
So we typically, when we do Ubers, we have to split it between 3 and 4 because they don't have like a 7 or 8 option, or they may let you, but you're kind of gambling,
right?
Because the drivers technically you're not supposed to let more than 6. Some do. We've done that before, but it's a gamble.
I feel like we've never ever done that.
We've all gone on the Uber van before.
Yes, when we didn't have 5 kids. Yeah, but that was when we had 4 kids.
No, I think we have. I remember.
No, that's fake news.
Okay.
But yeah, the itinerary was exceptional. We got to see so much. It's funny, the day before we left, I am going to share this story gently on the podcast. I had sent the itinerary to one of our friends who's a longtime listener, first time caller, and asked him to look at it because he goes to New York all the time. And you had made a joke in our itinerary every morning, building in intimate time. And I had forgotten that you put that in the itinerary to be funny. And you did it because our other friends were like linked on the itinerary. So I send this to this guy, right? And I'm like, hey, what do you think about our itinerary plans? And he responds like, oh, every morning, huh? Or something like that. I'm like, oh my gosh. I had forgotten that you made that joke. So That was very embarrassing.
Look before you share.
Well, we ain't at that level with this particular friend. We love this friend, but we ain't at that level with this particular friend. So it was a little embarrassing. I was deeply embarrassed that I sent that to him. But anyway, itinerary was great. We saw so much. The kids were good. We went to see The Lion King, which was unbelievable. Did you love The Lion King?
No, it was good. I had seen it before.
Right.
In Detroit many years ago. So I knew it took. So I think if you've not been before, because like I said, it's an animated movie, but now they have live action. But seeing it in person is very different because like how they're gonna do
masks.
Yeah, the masks and the costumes
and the aisle stuff. People had told me stuff, but when you see it in person, it's next. Like people were like, yeah, the characters come down the aisles. They do the same thing in Cats, so that's what I was expecting. But it was like next level. Like it was awesome. And our Julia's, who I sat next to, and she was like dying. I cried through more than half of it. I just thought it was so awesome. So, and I think it's really cool that, again, like you and I have set our priorities a little differently. And so being able to offer our kids these type of experiences is a really, really cool thing. Yeah. And I love the city. I mean, this confirmed for me 1,000,000%. I am deeply a city girl. Like I told you in our retirement for a month, we're going to live in New York City. I love it. I love it. I love everything about it. I love pushing through the crowds. I love the smells. I love the sounds. No, the smells is a little bit.
No, not the smells.
Yeah, but I love the city life. In New York City, I felt safe the whole time.
Well, also, we went to bed like we were in our room by like 8 or 9. We were not.
No, yeah. I mean, I wasn't out at 2 a.m. by myself. But people sometimes make New York City out to be like a really like scary place. It was awesome.
Well, I think they've worked on. I know crime has been a problem historically in the city, so I'm guessing that they've improved with that.
It was really great. It was really great. We barely fought at all. The only times we fought actually had nothing to do with the trip itself, I don't think. So that was good. Because I had made a decision in the beginning just to let you be in charge. That helped.
But you still were throwing subtle comments or jabs here and there. I can't remember, but
no, that's such a lie.
You did little small things.
Well, it's very minor. Entire trip, I was like, "This is exceptional. You've done such a good job. We've been able to see so much. You're such an idiot." Like, I didn't say anything negative. Like every time we had a meal, we toasted Dad for his exceptional. Like, I mean, give me a break. Little jabs. You are something else.
But no, I would say yes. You were very complimentary.
I mean, yes. You did an awesome job, and I made that very clear.
But two things could be true.
No, I mean, I was sick during the first night, so I was cranky. The night of the Lion King show, actually, I felt really sick. I had a head cold, and so I was cranky that night. But other than that, it was fine. We had one kid that kept melting down, and that was annoying. AF. Yeah.
No, it was a milestone because we did a lot of walking on day 2. There was a fair bit of walking, so we didn't know how the kids would react to that. But I would say they took it in stride. They did quite well walking around. Also, the biggest benefit we had was the weather, because that was a nervous thing. Like going at the end of April was kind of a coin toss, but luckily the weather was
like high of 72 and sunny every day.
Because if it was like in the 50s and like windy, I think we would have to done an audible to change a lot of things.
Or if it was super hot, like because of the amount of walking that we did and things like that. Oh, we did get in a fight. Oh, we did get in a fight in Ellis Island. I'll tell you why we got in a fight in Ellis Island. I am 45 years old.
Not yet.
This month.
Next month, yeah.
I got to Ellis Island and I was thirsty and I wanted to buy a water bottle, and this man told me no.
No, that's not true.
Can't. I love my husband. I have chosen to let him lead our family in a lot of ways that actually would make modern day women feel nervous. But so we get to the island. I've run out of water. It's a little hot. I like to drink water. I mean, I drink a profuse amount of water. I fully admit that. Fully admit that I drink a lot of water. But we get to the island and I'm like, "Oh, I'm thirsty." And you're like, "You don't need a water bottle." And I'm like, "I'm thirsty." And he's like, "No, you're fine."
That's not
so then we walk around the island and now we're waiting. We go into the gift shop. I'm like, "Honey, I think I'm going to buy a water bottle." He's like, "No, you're not buying a water bottle. We're fine." And then we go to wait for the ferry, and the ferry took about 45 minutes to come and pick us up in the sun, and I'm thirsty and I can't drink anything. And then what happens with me is a switched. And I'm like, why the heck, HE double hockey sticks, am I asking if I can buy a water bottle? And why the heck HE double hockey sticks. Am I married to a man that says that I can't? And that was a fight.
That
Clarify for the
it's
people.
hard when you tell.
Okay, I want you to
First
clarify.
off, we had like 4 or 5 different Owala water bottles, so
They were all empty.
they were not all empty. 'Cause
They
I
were all
remember
empty. They were all empty. Go ahead.
I recall that you drank some. We were waiting in line. You ended up drinking some from the Owala when we were in line. So they were not completely all empty. So that was the thing. It was like we had water. It's that we were talking about when we get off Ellis Island and get back to Manhattan, we were gonna go to the store and buy some water and fill everything up. So that we did have water with us at that
We
time.
did not.
It was
Julia
about
had a
filling
very,
things
very,
up.
very little bit, and she didn't want anyone to drink hers, and it was her Owala. She had like 3 sips, and I did drink it. You're right. I took the last of her water, but like, you don't find it strange for you to tell your wife that she can't buy a water bottle?
I don't agree that that happened. I think that the plan was we had, like I said,
I need
Julia
you
had
to tell the truth.
I think that saying a 7-year-old has her own water bottle and you can't use it is a bit much. I think it's like, yeah, use her water and we'll fill
Babe, I
everything
did
up.
use her water, and it was gone in 3 seconds. She had like 2 sips left. That's not my point. You don't think it's weird to tell your wife, who's 44, almost 45 years old, that she can't buy a water bottle? You don't think that's
I
weird?
feel like you're putting that is.
No,
I
it's
feel like
just,
that is not completely what happened.
it is. And
If
unfortunately,
you
I
said that,
acquiesced to you. And then I'm like, what the hell am I doing? I can buy a water bottle, but then at that point, it's too late. Like, sometimes I do this thing where I like ask you for permission to get a $3 bottle of water, and it's like so triggering.
First off, the water is not $3.
The one at the one at stop,
that is a lie.
the one at the Ellis Island was the one that was in the cart on the street was $6, and that's what you were triggered by. But anyways, that was the only fight.
Which,
And that was the only
for the
relevant
record, I
fight.
would never say no. You are not allowed
You're
to
such
drink.
a liar, dude.
You are not allowed to have water. I would never say that. I just want to make sure
Aaron,
that's clear
can you
for
tell
the
the
record.
truth?
I am telling the truth.
Can you tell
We
the
were
truth?
planning on no. The boat was coming. I said
The boat wasn't.
the boat. We thought the boat was coming because when we got in line, but the boat stopped us. So we're like,
I was
okay,
like, I'd really like a water bottle. He's like, no, you don't need to get that. Can you admit that?
we were gonna get water on the boat.
I mean, it's crazy.
Can you admit that
This
when
is
we were
crazy.
back on
So
the
anyway,
boat, the boat had water?
we did get in a fight, but I will take culpability. Why, in the name of all things good, am I asking to buy a water bottle at 44 years old? This is the kind of stuff where I'm like, we are in too deep in this 15-year marriage. Like, I should just buy a water bottle. And so that's how I'll proceed in the future.
I did not tell you, can I have water?
Other great moments. The 9/11 thing was incredible.
Yeah, that was really because there's a memorial and there's a museum. So memorial is like the spot where the towers were. There's a space still there, and there's like pools. So it's they're square shape. I don't say hole. Like essentially, it's a square
Wow.
space
Make a long story short, bro.
with the water there. So there's 2 of them. So that's just some more. But there's actually like a museum. So I think what gets lost is that there's like this huge museum with like artifacts and all these stories. And because when we went in 2016, we did not go to the museum. We went to the memorial, but we didn't go to the museum. I can't remember why. Probably because we were kind of moving around. But yeah, the museum was. I would say that was better than I think any of the museums we went to.
Did you get emotional?
No, but it's remembrance, like because everyone remembers where they were.
Yeah.
That I mean, if you're a certain age, like everyone remembers where they were. So you remember where you were, what you did the entire day. So when you go there, it takes you back to like that day. And there's so much there. There's like the steel beams. They show you all the folded metal. They show you all the different videos,
crazy.
and the ambulances are there and fire trucks are there. I didn't know that some of the actual like the remains, some of the bodies are there.
Yeah, neither did I.
So like there's like this wall,
Yeah, that was
and
crazy.
like if you're part of the family, you can there's a door. So if you're like a member of the family, you can actually go into this special area where like some of the remains and the bodies are still there.
Right.
I didn't know that.
It was I have a hard time talking about 9/11 with our kids without crying. Like, I just, because they don't know it, and then when I'm trying to explain it to them, like, I always get emotional. And walking through was a pretty, like, it was a really hard day. It was a really weird day, but there was hope in it. And I think going to the museum was really good for the kids. There was one point where little Aaron, there's all these like little, I'm going to call them side chapels. They weren't side chapels, but like these side areas where you can go in and watch different films with audio of people during the day. And little Aaron was in one, and I turned the corner to go in, and it happened to be the one that was about people jumping off the buildings. And I was coming in with the
Yeah.
girls, and Aaron was visibly upset. I didn't know that that's what it was, and he was like, "Mom, don't bring the girls in here." And so I asked the girls to stand outside, and I went in and watch, but then I left too. Those are the images that are impossible for me to watch. And they had like, it was a whole film dedicated to the people that
Yeah,
made
and they
that
showed
choice.
it.
Yeah, so I'm very surprised they did that. Actually, I don't like those videos. I guess it's part of history.
It's part of the
That's
story.
I know that was.
Well, they had a whole section towards the end dedicated to like Islam and the Islamic
Oh yeah, I was
relations,
surprised at that
and they showed
too.
like the attackers, and they talked about
Yeah,
them.
I was very surprised at
So
that. Yeah,
so I think they're covering like all the different aspects
right.
of that.
So that was a really profound day. I love just sitting in Times Square too, like watching the people. I could have sat there for hours. The kids and I woke up really early one morning and went and just had coffee and sat in Times Square. But then
Yeah.
the coolest thing for me too, and then I'll have one more thing to say, is when we were leaving, again, we decided to take the bus and subway back, and like our kids are just walking down the streets. I posted this on Facebook with like their suitcases. The stairs on the subway, there's a lot of stairs. And like Malia's just picking up her suitcase and carrying up the stairs. And I'm like, we can do this. Like it felt really cool for me as somebody who's traveled pretty extensively that like we can travel when we're ready. Like our
Yes.
kids can handle public transportation. They can handle crowds. They were good listeners. They were, for the most part, all in. Like it was good.
Yeah, it was a milestone.
Yeah, big time, I think.
Because I remember, you nervous? 'Cause I remember we went to Disney. It was 3 years ago, 2022. So like, Julie was 4 or 5, and Lee were 7 or 8. And do you remember like having to get a stroller? Like, because
Oh yeah,
Disney's a big
right.
thing. Like, you use a lot of strollers, but then there's a point in which, okay, my kids can walk. They don't need a stroller anymore. So we did not bring a stroller. And then like halfway through the day, we were like, either we need to get a stroller, or we need to go home, because
Right.
like the walking was too. I'm not walking anymore.
They're like,
Like
I'm just not walking.
they like broke down by like
Right.
lunchtime, and we were like, oh, we are screwed.
But see, that
And
was
we had to get
hot.
we had to get the double
Yeah,
stroller.
I do think if it was hot, it would have been different. It was not hot in New York City. It was warm, but it wasn't
Yeah.
hot. When you're in Disney and it's hot, our girls literally we had to go
We had to get the double
for the
stroller
7 and the 4 year old.
for that day the next day, 'cause they
Yeah,
were like, I'm not doing this
yeah,
anymore. So I think that was in the back of our mind,
right.
but they plowed through it.
Well, the other thing that I'm realizing too is like setting your kids up for the win is really important as well. So like getting a double stroller when you realize your kids are going to melt down, like making sure that like Central Park was a time to just chill, like you could like sit and just chill when they had meltdowns, being patient with them. One thing that I think we've discovered, at least I have, and I'm firm about moving forward, you're somebody for some reason you like to be really controlling about when we have meals, and so the kids at like 11:30 get hungry and you're like, we're waiting till 1:30, and then those 2 hours are spent with kids melting down because you wait till they're hangry before it's time to eat, and I'm not doing that anymore either.
No, well, the truth is that our children will always claim to be hungry. Like, we will eat at like 9 o'clock, and by 10 o'clock, they will be talking about how hungry they are. So they are children who will always
Well, you had lunches
claim.
built for 1:30 and 2 o'clock in this trip, and that's too far. Like kids melt
No,
down then.
no, but you give a context around. Yeah, you're right. If we ate breakfast at 8 o'clock,
We
but
did eat
we ate
breakfast.
breakfast at by
Oh my
like
gosh,
usually
you're
by
such a
like 9:30, we were done with
you're
like
such a
having
dirty liar.
breakfast.
So, anyways, it's learning how to set yourself up for the win. Now
Correct. And I don't
that
let the children like dictate
okay,
with their claims
I know you
of
don't,
hunger.
right? And I do.
With their fun.
So moving on, what I did say though is that it was an exhausting trip, different than even Disney exhaustion when you're doing constant sightseeing and moving. Like it was heavy on the not relaxing.
Right, which is why I think we made sure we came back on Friday. 'Cause I
Right.
think if we came back on Saturday, like evening, and we would have one day and back to school, that would have been tough. But I think coming back on Friday after we got back around like 2:30,
Right,
so
but
coming back on Friday was very helpful, because then you have the 2 days to get ready for the week ahead.
well, and for me, the bigger thing is that I now know for sure that we made the right decision regarding the cruise this summer because we were gonna do Paris and Ireland. And I know two things now. I know number one, we can do Paris and Ireland and our kids are going to be able to hang when it's time to do that.
Yeah.
But it's a different thing than a cruise, right? So like in the summer, I actually want to chill a bit. You know what I mean? It's like you earn this like almost paradise type vacation versus sightseeing vacation. They're very
Well,
different.
well, it goes to the definition of like vacation,
Right.
and that's why I always said the reason why we go to. If people curious why we go to Disney a lot, is because it's all contained in like the same
Right.
spot.
Yep.
So I don't have to worry about like renting a car,
Yep.
driving to go to different spots. You're doing all this walking and things like that because it does get tiring because all revolves around like all these things. But you go to
Right.
Disney,
It's all right there.
you go in and it's like you can walk around. There's different
Right.
attractions. Like that feels much more like a vacation
Right.
than going to major
And
cities.
some people would disagree with us, but I agree with you. Like, I think this was what I described it, and I asked the kids, like, which one they prefer. And actually, they did say this was their least favorite type of vacation, but they loved it. So they understand it's not like a privilege point. Like, they understand how lucky they are. But sightseeing vacations are very different than chill. You know, it's just
Yes.
a very different type of
Well,
vacation.
I think as they get older, I think it lends itself to having older kids,
Right. Yeah.
much more than having younger kids.
Yeah. Like when they can all hang with their suitcases. So still like Malia can hang with hers. Julia's still a little bit too young. So then the kids were carrying two. It's just it's fun. It was a fun vacation. And it's good to learn kind of as a family where we're at and what we can do. And again, our kids were pretty awesome for the most part. I think.
Yes.
I think they were really good on this trip. Like it felt really good.
Do you want to talk about
Um,
Carmine's?
well, I mean, there's a restaurant called Carmen's. My dad said again on the phone, he's like, it's the best restaurant in the world. If you've been in New York City, you've been there. I have been there before. You and I went there.
Yeah.
It's an Italian restaurant. It's like famous. It's right on Times Square. It was right by where our theater was. First of all, I was sick as a mother trucker that day. So like I had this major head cold. I'm blowing my nose, like one side stuffed. I just don't feel good. But then we go there and we order four things. So we ordered calamari,
Yep.
red
Garlic,
sauce
garlic
pasta,
bread.
garlic bread, and Caesar salad. They brought us, it's family style. They brought us so much food that we had to throw away three-fourths of it. Like, I don't even understand because we have a big hungry family. Like, I don't even understand how we ate there before, to be honest. Like, it was a profuse amount of food. It wasn't that great. The servers were like, I actually felt like the servers were kind of mean, to be honest, when they're like, clear the table, move your cups closer to you. And I'm like, what the hell? Aaron Christopher Wilkerson dumped spaghetti all over his nice clothing for the show. Like he just kept
Twice.
missing his face and putting it all down the front of his
Twice.
shirt.
Because when they and I've learned, I guess when they don't know how to eat. So like he does like the scoop thing with like
Yeah, they don't know how
even
to
with-
eat our
even with
kids.
spaghetti, like he like tries to scoop it with a fork and it just scoops right onto his shirt and he did it twice.
And then we got mad.
Um
And then like I ordered a drink that I didn't even finish, which is very rare for me to like
Yeah.
take two sips of a $20 drink. But it was, yeah, I will never go back there again.
No, I think the highlight food wise was
There was a couple.
no, I think the highlight food wise was the taco place. To me, that was the like
That's for you, not for me, but I
that was the
understand.
best meal we had was that Los
No.
Tacos. Like that was like in terms of flavor,
Yes.
I feel like that was our best meal. That was the very first thing
I felt like
that
that was good,
we
but
ate.
I don't love Mexican like you do, so it was
What would you
fine.
say the best meal was?
For sure, the brunch place that you brought us to. I love brunch.
Oh,
So he brought us to this
well,
place called Mom's.
I would say yes. That was better than Carmine's.
He
Yes.
brought us to Mom's. Now, when I tell you that this place was built to be inclusive of our LGBTQ brothers and sisters, like, I mean, it was really outside of the tradition of traditional marriage, right? But the food was great. The servers were awesome. It was really fun. I loved that place.
Yeah, that was better than Carmine's.
And I like the pizza place. You guys didn't. We went to a very famous pizza place.
I would, yeah. I mean, I would say it's New York style pizza, but to me, it was not better
Little Aaron, we had
than.
Papa John's when we got home. He's like, I prefer this over John's.
I would, yeah, I would
Like,
say our pizza here was just as good.
yeah, well, it's funny
Um,
because that's the place we went to was like very famous.
Yeah, I think those are places you have to like doctor. You have to like because we got like cheese and pepperoni. I think those are places you have to doctor. You have to add all these different toppings
make
and
it
things
like,
like that
oh,
to make
yeah.
it exceptional.
Yeah.
But
They
I
were very.
was
The reason I loved it though, everybody there was so nice. Like they were all so nice.
yes,
It was like a family vibe of niceness, like old school New York City. It was very cute. So
it was good. It was just I would say
it was a journey too. I mean,
earth-shattering
we
pizza.
jumped on some public transportation to get there. So Ellis Island, not worth it to me at all. Like it was fine, but I
Well,
don't.
we don't have any ties to
Right.
history there, so we don't have any family that went through Ellis Island. So
Yeah.
You don't care about immigration at all, so
Right.
it
Bring us your poor and your
it didn't
welcome.
connect to you
Yeah.
because your family
Seeing the Statue
snuck
of
in
Liberty
through
on the boat.
Canada.
We did go in through Canada. Seeing the seeing the Statue of Liberty was beautiful.
Yeah, we did not get off though.
Which
We
was a
just
really freaking good choice,
we
especially
drove.
since you weren't letting us buy water. That was a good
Oh my
choice.
gosh.
Yeah, so New York City, good trip, great trip. Home now. I made a poor choice to RSVP yes to my cousin's shower the next day on Saturday in freaking Grand Rapids. So yesterday I was gone all day at a shower. Now once I got there, it was awesome. I got to spend time with my aunties and my mom, and it was great. But on Saturday morning, I'm like, I can't believe I need to go to Grand Rapids today. I actually can't believe it.
Which is a 2 hour drive
Right.
across the state.
Which my mom said was 3 hours. So, but anyways, it's fine. We got there. It was great. The shower was lovely. I'm really, really glad I went. But on Saturday morning, I'm like, I mean, I was bitter Betty about the whole thing.
Yes.
Because this is a shower for a cousin who I love, but his wife I've met once. They've been together for like 8 years. Like this isn't, you know what I mean? But it was well worth it. They were so grateful we were there. They let us bring the girls. It was perfect. So
yeah, those are those decisions where when you first sign up for a month in advance, oh, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
And leading up to, you're like, oh
shoot.
I don't know why I did this.
But you know, it is interesting, and I'll talk about this gently as well. I would have canceled, to be honest, but my mom didn't feel comfortable driving by herself. And I was talking to one of my sisters about it. We are starting to enter an interesting time, at least with my parents, where like if I didn't go, my mom doesn't go. And so like
because of the distance.
Because of the distance. So there is an aspect which I know some of our listeners probably are used to when your parents get to be a certain age where like they start to rely on you to be able to have experiences. And so I was like I didn't have an option to cancel. My mom was so grateful that I brought her. But then I was like, okay, we're going to leave right after presents. And I could tell she was really disappointed because she wanted to visit with her sisters. So it's like striking this balance of like, I want to be a good daughter to you. I know you want to be here, but I actually can't stay here for 6 hours while you visit with your sisters. So we are going to leave right away.
Right.
Isn't that interesting? It's like an interesting phase that we're about to get into, I think, you know?
Right.
It's interesting. So now we have this upcoming week.
A lot going on.
Oh my gosh. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Our
All right,
oldest
let's
birthday.
dig into it. Yes.
Our oldest birthday is Tuesday.
He's turning 14.
He is turning
which is crazy.
14 years of age.
Which is crazy that you have a 14-year-old.
Yes.
Every year that he gets older is a year that's just, it is mind blowing to me that boy is 14 years old. And then in 4 years, he's 18.
Thank goodness.
No, you
Deuces.
don't feel that way.
Peace
It's
out.
no, I'm excited for him. He's excited about his birthday. He was really good in New York City too, which was nice. Because these teenagers can go either way.
He pat himself on the back the whole time. I was good. I was
He
good.
was though.
I was fine.
He's
I
a
was
kid
good.
though. He's a kid
But he
because
picks,
he's our
though.
oldest.
He
does
agitates
tease.
the other one. He teases.
But I will say our oldest, it is interesting, and some people that have families will note this. He actually determines the mood of the kids. Like if he is in a mood, it'll dismantle the entire family. And so when he chooses to be in a good mood, besides his teasing, it does matter to the type of trips that we have. So
Right.
he's turning 14, and then we have the first communion.
On Saturday.
Is that it? Do we? Oh yeah, Malia has an art show on Friday.
Friday night.
She's getting an award, and I have to work that
Yes.
art show. So Friday night's crazy. Then the first communion is on Saturday.
Saturday.
Let's get into it. I have many nieces and nephews on my dad's side of the family, so we do first communions together.
It's 33 total
Right.
grandchildren.
So first communions together. We don't do it through our parish. My dad does the first communions through his parish with our friend Father Mario celebrating Mass.
Well, are you talking about like sacraments? We do baptisms. We do parties for baptism and first communion.
Yeah, I'm
We
just
don't
talking
do
about first communions right now. Yeah, I'm just talking about first communions right now. So you and I have made a decision. We do not do birthday parties for our kids. I cannot stress that enough. Like our kids
Correct.
do not get birthday parties. That's not a part of their lived experience.
Because there's so many grandchildren.
Right.
Like the cost really goes around feeding all the other.
But some of our siblings do. We just don't. So
Correct.
but we do, and we budget for sacraments. And what we've done traditionally, which I'm so grateful for, is we have been able to do sacrament receptions outside of our house, like at a restaurant typically. So
And we prioritize when we do this stuff. We kind of mix it. We have had some
like one or two here.
sacraments.
Yeah, but mostly
We've had baptisms. A couple we've had at our house, but yeah,
Yeah.
we prioritize having them elsewhere because there's no setup or cleanup. The restaurant does that.
I get to enjoy the day. That's
it's
basically what it is.
easier.
I get to enjoy the day with my kids. the sacramental day with my kids, when I don't have to prep my house for a party, when you have a huge family, so you're talking 50
Well, and we
people.
just did Easter
Right.
at our Easter party at our house.
But it's not even about that. It's about the fact that I want to be able to be present to my kids on their sacramental days. So the challenge with doing sacraments with other siblings, of course, and I totally get it. My siblings are like, no way am I paying for a restaurant for this. Like, that's not what they want. That's not in their budget. They're like, we have home parties. Like, this is what we plan for. So in the beginning of this first communion planning, I was like, I told you I knew it was going to be a problem, and it was a problem. They were like, no, we don't want to do the restaurant. So then it ended up being that it's going to be at my brother's house. But my brother he has a baller house. I mean, my brother's house is like, his pool is actually like a Real Housewives. I don't know if we've talked about it before. There's a swim up bar, a grotto, a 10-person hot tub. I mean, it is lights, like music. He has the same sound system that Disney has. So like it goes around, surround sound. I mean, it's like actually ridiculous. So I was like, okay, well, we'll do it there. At least I can tell like our friends, like there's going to be a pool party. Like, so that's what it's worth the drive. Now it's going to be cold. So we have to drive 20 minutes south of us for the first communion at my dad's parish. Then we all need to drive up to Brighton, which who wants to drive up to Brighton after this? Like, no, Brighton is about an hour from there. Probably, I have to assume it's an hour from Maria Goretti.
Oh, I don't. I mean,
yeah, I mean it's far, and so it's just, and then of course my sister-in-law's amazing, so she's going to cater the whole thing, and we're all splitting that. But we're going to have to clean up and break down. And I'm like, that's not what I want these days to be honest. So I'm grumpy about it. Like, I love going in for a 2-hour meal and then being done and coming home and being like, that was an awesome day celebrating my kid. And now it's going to be like a whole thing.
Yeah, it's just difference of priorities.
Right.
And where people focus their efforts.
Right. So but it'll be fun. Julia's really excited. We got her dress altered, so she'll be ready to go. I have to get her some jewelry this week, like I did for Malia. So yeah. And then my mom wants to do the May crowning on Sunday.
Oh,
I didn't tell you that because Teresa's in town. But I actually told my mother. So my mom, many grandchildren, every May does a May crowning with all of her grandchildren come to her house. We do like a decade of the rosary. We sing. We give Blessed Mother flowers.
Can we just bring Blessed Mother to your brother's house? And do it there?
That would be and that's what my sister-in-law suggested. And my mom was like, no, this is the one thing I insist upon at my house. So, but I told my mom, when she said it might be Sunday, I said, well, we might not be coming because that's just too much, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then work again on Monday. So we'll see. But that's what she wants to do. So. And then you have something on Wednesday. Oh, yeah, you have a work outing, a social outing for your work.
Yeah,
Aaron went out last night, by the way, with friends, which I haven't done probably in 6 months, and stayed out until 1 o'clock in the morning. Like, literally walks into the house at 1 o'clock in the morning, as though that is a normal thing. That was crazy what you did yesterday.
Bro, we have differences. You go out, like...
No, I'm not doing... No, we're not... We're actually... Go ahead.
See,
yeah.
This is... Everyone... Do you know everyone notices how much you interrupt me all the time? It's becoming a thing.
Go.
I'm gonna do a Mary interruption count on our podcast.
Great, go.
When you go out with your girlfriends, you go out for like a brunch, like on during the day. I go out to someone's backyard for a couple hours. Like it's just a difference. And it it doesn't happen when's the last time I went out?
Between your date and nerd events, your social events through Carhartt, you're hanging out with friends. You go out once a week at this point. I can look in our calendar. I'll show you our calendar. I'll show you our calendar.
Friends,
I actually can't remember the last time I went out at all outside of the context of my family. Do you?
You can.
No, you always say no.
Just went for
you
work.
always say no. You always say no. You always say
no.
You always say no.
You just went out to a bar 2 weeks ago for work.
But first I had to pick up all the kids, drive them home, and then race there for an hour. Yeah, you're right.
Because your work people had to go right after school, and I had to work. I'm sorry, I can't pick the kids up. I have a job.
I know.
And your people are inflexible. That's your thing, not mine.
People are inflexible. All right, so that's this week. Anything else?
Anything else you want to lie about? Or exaggerate?
No, you have a work event. What are you doing for the work event on Wednesday?
Bro, can you admit that in terms of a work thing for my job, the last time I've been out was 6 months ago?
I'm not doing that with you. No, that's actually crazy that you just said that. You in May, I'm sorry, at the beginning of April or the end of March, you had a week where people came in town and it was an IT week where the whole week was you hanging out with people. It wasn't at nighttime.
We didn't go out at nighttime.
Liar. Oh my gosh.
I can show you the calendar. Anyway,
tell me what you're doing Wednesday
tell
with
the
your
truth,
IT
shame the
people.
devil.
I understand that you don't want to answer this question. What are you doing
they're going to Detroit X and I think it's in Ferndale.
What is oh, you're throwing axes.
It's like axe throwing.
Great.
But that's optional though. I can easily.
I want you to do that.
I can easily.
Are we
not
still
go.
going to the comedy night with your coworker?
Oh, that's next. That's next week.
That's gonna be crazy. Okay.
So.
Anything else? That was just a quick recap.
No,
I don't think it was quick.
The month of Mary starts on. That will be on Thursday.
Yep.
Is the month of Mary.
Yep.
Which is a lot for you. I mean, we have Mother's Day.
Yeah.
We have your birthday.
Yep.
And you're like, I need to celebrate the entire month of May.
I know.
To celebrate you.
Curious how you're going to celebrate me.
So that starts on Thursday. That starts on Thursday.
Woohoo!
The month of Mary.
Love my month.
Anything you want to say about the funeral of the Pope?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I wish I would have thought about it because our podcasts are getting too long, and I don't like them being long.
We got into 45. I think solid 45 minutes max.
Yeah. So, the Pope's funeral. I woke up to watch the end of it and the procession to St. Mary Major, and it was beautiful. It was really cool to see how much the global community cares about the movements of the church. Yes. Like wall-to-wall coverage is crazy. And I think it tells us something about the truth, beauty, and goodness that is contained within the Catholic Church. And it makes me sad for those... This is going to sound...
Judgmental. Go ahead. Say it.
It makes me sad for those people who choose to participate. And again, everybody has to find their own faith path, but who... This isn't for everybody, but the people that maybe... Okay... It makes me sad for people that have left the church to choose to participate in something less than what the church is because it is easier than being present in the fullness of what I believe Jesus instituted. And so, like when I see something like what I saw yesterday morning, to me, it speaks to the like outside of time reality of our faith in worship. Our connection to like this historical reality that began in the storytelling in Genesis and all the way through. Like there's a staying power of the church that's really beautiful. Despite all of her terrible corruptions and missteps and people that are terrible, the human gross part of it, which is so present, there is a beauty of the sustainable truth within the church I thought was really wonderful. An interesting thing happened that if I dig into it's just going to take time, and I don't like these podcasts being so
TLDR, too long didn't read.
You know, they kept saying throughout this funeral that the Holy Father had requested that the last people to kind of greet him before he entered into his tomb, like his body, would be the poor, the homeless, the most marginalized would be at St. Mary Major's. And as I was watching the funeral, then they added, like, it's going to be the poor, the homeless, and a group of transgender women greeting the Holy Father before he was put to his resting place. And I'm like, well, that's weird, because the church is very clear on gender ideology, like very clear. And actually, weirdly enough, Pope Francis, for all the confusion that people attribute to him, was very clear on gender ideology, very clear in terms of God made man and women, men and women. And so I was like, and then I like Googled it. And the reality is there was this religious sister that works in a home with the most marginalized, which oftentimes are men who would identify as being transgender women who were involved in prostitution, that they're working on like healing. And she would bring these groups of men, poor, homeless, to the Wednesday audiences. And the Holy Father always made like a special place for this community of people. And to me, I'm like, that is such a different story than what the secular reality was trying to put forth, because the church was, the Holy Father through the church was opening his arms wide to those that are most broken and most hurting. And not, by the way, in an acceptance of how our culture is perceiving gender ideology or confusion, but rather like this is a broken moment that we need to meet people. And that's the accompaniment thing that I think, and that's like the bigger thing. I'm like, this is actually who he was. There wasn't a person who wasn't welcome in his presence. That's how we should be. I need to work on that. I've actually been examining that. Like there are certain groups of people I don't want to be around. You know what I mean? And like there wasn't a group of people that were not welcome in the Holy Father's presence. the more I dig into like how he taught though, he actually was pretty clear on doctrine, and he's always, people are always like he wasn't, and I feel like he was. Like that we're accompanying people to truth. And so people love to use that word accompaniment, but like the accompaniment is towards heaven. It's not just walking with people aimlessly, right?
Right.
But you have to meet people
Or
first.
enabling.
Right, but you have to meet people first before you, and I think he did so well. Like the fact that these men with this brokenness, right, who identify as transgender women, were brought to papal audiences is so beautiful. Because you can't start from, if you can't start with being welcome, then you can't go anywhere. So there was a beauty in that. I think that's a lesson for me, right?
Yeah.
You did not get up to watch. You don't care about our Holy Father.
That's good. You've been betting on. Maybe you felt a little bit of guilty because you had hoped for him to die so much sooner. That you were like, there's some finality. And you were like, I was right the whole time.
That's a lie.
It just took him longer.
That's a lie. Let me ask you, do you have any thoughts on the Holy Father's death?
No, I agree that it's interesting. Like the things that still matter in our culture, like the royal family, in particular, like the British royal family still has a place so high. Like when the Queen dies, or there's a um or when they institute like the King Charles, like that still matters and it gets attention. So very few things, worldwide events, will get that much attention as like the royal family, and in the Catholic Church is like the Pope and conclave. So even like I talked last night, like even the movie Conclave, like how you can make a film about that particular process within that denomination. Like you won't see that with our Jewish brethren or Islamic brethren, like that type of focus. So I think it shows just. I think the trick we have is like we live in like the American politics is very different than um like the church outside the United States. So we view everything in terms of the United States politics, but in terms of the worldview, like the Catholic Church still matters at a large scale. That you get glimpses of that when you see like the Pope dies or what's coming up with conclave. It shows like the church still matters, even though we hear about like the declining church and churches closing, priest shortages. Like still it doesn't, like outside of the United States, like there still is a global church, and we get to be remembered of that.
Yeah. And then the conclave. Yeah, you referenced we're about to go into the time of the conclave. I'm excited for our kids to see that.
That's also in the month of Mary.
Yeah, I'm excited for our kids to see the conclave. It's a very interesting piece of history. I'm going to talk with our staff at Divine Child to see what we're going to do. I mean, obviously, we're not going to do anything before the Pope is announced, but if the Pope is announced during school, I would hope that we're going to encourage teachers to turn it on and
light smoke.
Right. I would hope though that we can kind of, I don't know, because obviously teachers have content to go through, but to the degree that teachers can, I think it's a moment that we want to pause as a school and
Are there
turn on our
TVs
TVs
in every room?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't
There's
know
an
that.
ability through screens and plugging in your computer to turn it on. I just feel like it's a very historical moment. It'll be interesting to see where our church goes from here. I have such confidence that it's going to be good. I don't know if that's probably false confidence, but yeah. So big deals in the Catholic Church. So we'll talk that stuff next week, maybe.
There you go. And we're still under 45 minutes.
Praise God. Okay. Have a great week.
Until next time.
All of our loyal listeners.